Hello, my name is Cecilia Bailliet. I am Professor of International Law at the Faculty of Law at the University of Oslo in Norway. I created the first law class in the world on the international law of peace at the Norwegian Center for Human Rights. And this Research Handbook responds to the gap created by the neglect of peace in international law scholarship. It explains the normative evolution of peace from the principles of peaceful coexistence to the UN Declaration on the Right to Peace. And the book calls for the fortification of international institutions to facilitate the pursuit of sustainable peace as a public good. It actually is used as a textbook in my master's level class, and I hope that it will inspire a new generation of peace scholarship, both in research and in teaching and study. It includes an introduction that presents the state of the art in research on international law and peace. And this is followed by a chapter by philosophers from the Peace Research Institute of Oslo, Christopher Lydon and Henrik Syse. They explain how peace evolved through liberal thought. In another chapter, I present the normative development of the international law of peace in the post-Western age. Together with Simon O'Connor, I address the concept of peace as a means by explaining the obligation of states to pursue good faith Pacific forms of dispute settlement. Paul Range explains the interface of peace and security, and Ulla Engdahl identifies dilemmas regarding the responsibility to protect and peace. The second part of the book addresses the preconditions of peace. So here we bring in political scientist Kjersti Skarstad, who demonstrates the human rights violations actually increases the risk of conflict. And political scientist Bård Andreassen analyzes the relationship between peace and development. This is followed by Ole Christian Faucold and Daniel Ben, who are lawyers, presenting the interface of peace and international investment. And Christina Fugt addresses peace and the environment. Skjold Wergeland comes in with a really timely chapter on nuclear abolition and peace, and together with Gru Nistan, he also goes on in another chapter to address the role of controlling the arms trade. Now, the third part of the book discusses civil society participation. So Vibeke Blakker-Strand, she commences with an overview of what we call the foundation of positive peace, non-discrimination and equality. Maya Janmyr presents the refugees' quest for peace, and Cornelia Weiss argues for the inclusion of women as peacemakers, peacekeepers, and peace builders. The last part of the book looks at institutional implementation of peace, and this includes chapters on peace operations, on fact-finding missions, on transitional justice by Jemima Garcia-Godos, and the role of international courts by Genti and Zibiri. It also has additional chapters on how the WTO handles strategic value cases and the need for institutions to address cyber peace. And finally, we have a chapter looking at the plurality of peace iterations around the world at the national level in their constitutions. This is written by Azim Tajini. There's an epilogue by the Dean of the University of Peace in Costa Rica. I really believe that this volume is a collection of leading scholars that hope to inspire policymakers and practitioners and academics to examine creatively how their fields of law can contribute to peace. In an age of instability and war, this book seeks to provide hope and inspiration to strive for a more peaceful world.